Let's get some analysis on those jobs numbers. I'm joined by a regular on this program, Assistant Professor Stephen Hamilton from George Washington University. What do you make of this number today? The labour force, these numbers continue to remain strong, don't they?
Yeah, g'day, Kieran. That's exactly the right interpretation. So, there was a bit of a kick up last month, and I think that a lot of people hoped, right? A lot of people hoped that that signaled that maybe there'd be a cooling and that would take pressure off the RBA. Well, we're back down to 4% from 4.1. So I think that the sense is the labour market remains strong across every single measure: participation, underemployment, unemployment, employment to population, hours worked. Literally any labour market indicator suggests that there continues to be strong demand pressures in the economy. And, that's not going to take pressure off wages. That's not going to take pressure off inflation. So, I don't think this changes anything dramatically for the inflation and unemployment outlook. But if you were hoping for a sign that maybe things would cool, this isn't it.
Okay, so it's the meeting next week that we're all waiting for. How does it feed into that? You're saying it doesn't change much, but does it potentially add to the case for a hike?
I think there was already a case for a hike. I think this is more of the same. I think the RBA disagrees. I think the RBA is going to do anything it possibly can to delay or avoid hiking again. And so I don't think this piece of data pushes them to move, right? So I think the way to think about it is, they're in a holding pattern at the moment. They want more data. The unemployment rate today was more of the same. They're not going to update. What they want to look for is that inflation starts to fall. Okay, the strong kind of consumption figures in the national accounts last week, the continued strong inflation figures in the monthly numbers, the upside surprise to inflation in the last quarterly number, along with continued strong unemployment figures. These all feed into a story that suggests unemployment's not going to fall as fast as the RBA hopes. What the RBA is going to wait for is for confirmation of that, right? So I think they're going to want to know, is that June quarter inflation number, that big number, is that going to be above the RBA forecast? And if it is anything even modestly above the RBA forecast, I think that makes it hard for the RBA to hold in August, which is going to be the key date.
Okay, the Treasurer has said in response to this number, I want to get your thoughts on this. He says, we are fighting inflation and repairing the budget without smashing the economy. And we see that in these tens of thousands of new jobs created. New jobs numbers show our labour market is an important source of strength in difficult times. Does he feel, Stephen Hamilton, do you think that they might get that soft landing after all with unemployment not shooting up too much?
Both the Reserve Bank and the Treasury, Jim Chalmers' own Treasury Department, see full employment as higher than it currently is, right? Which means that the current rate of unemployment is too low to have inflation sustainably fall. His own Treasury Department says this. So, unemployment ticked down by 0.1 this month. That's moving in the opposite direction. That means unemployment is moving even further below what the Treasury considers to be sustainable. So I think, this is a further sign that the economy is very strong, the demand pressures are very strong, that the RBA's rate cuts aren't having the effect that the RBA wants it to have. Additional fiscal stimulus is going to flow from July 1, right? We have 20 billion in new government spending decisions. We have 24 billion in stage 3 tax cuts. We just saw the Queensland government announce unprecedented levels of household support. If you look across the whole economy, the amount of fiscal support being pumped in from just a couple of weeks away is really extreme. So I think, to my mind, the outlook over the next 6 months, if you had to guess, I think that the forecasts from both the RBA and Treasury are probably too optimistic, and that it's more likely than not that inflation ends up higher than they think.
We will stay in touch as always. Professor Stephen Hamilton from George Washington University. Thanks.